Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is brought to you by Genesis House and the Friends in Recovery community, a thriving network of individuals who are fighting back against the stigma of addiction and recovery. Join your hosts,
the Podfather, Jersey Ed,
Miss Meg,
as they break the silence and speak up about the real issues of addiction, treatment, and recovery. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, here are your friends in recovery.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Friends in Recovery podcast.
It is a podcast.
Yes,
sure
it
is.
Sponsored by Genesis House.
It is sponsored by Genesis
Yes, it
House.
is.
You're
Yes,
getting
it
all
is.
these right so far.
I know. Podfather's not here, and another show, he's right about now getting a tooth pulled out or something, or a root canal. So, Podfather, we miss you, and hurry back. I'm Jersey Ed.
and I'm Miss Meg. What's going on,
Miss
guys?
Meg, how's it going?
Hey, I'm hanging in there.
We have somebody behind the scenes over there. Who's that?
I'm just always behind the scenes,
Yes.
creeping in the shadows,
That's it. It's real creepy.
wearing
back
really
there.
weird clothes.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's going on today?
It's
What are you
another
wearing today?
tracksuit.
Tracksuit. Love the
another tracksuit,
tracksuit.
yep.
You look
Yep.
very comfortable and very relaxed.
It's not a traditional tracksuit though. It's a short sleeve
Okay.
top with really it's like capris.
Nice.
You know, and yep. Yeah, and then I got dress socks on.
They're
And-
plaid.
yeah.
Oh, no, they're polka dot. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
And then obviously my my traditional sock hat.
That's it. That's it. Well, the turbans are a very nice touch. How did you
Uh,
get that around the headphones?
Well, I mean, I was gonna put the headphones over it, and they just didn't extend that big. So you just basically you need someone to help you. It
That's
takes
it.
a couple people.
That's it.
Yep.
I've seen that happening in the green room before.
Yeah, it's like a boxer.
Yeah.
They put the wrap on the hand for the
Yeah.
boxer. It takes
Yeah.
a couple people. You gotta get it
Exactly.
tight.
Exactly.
There's no way this thing's coming off.
No.
Yeah.
Did Nick Cannon suggest that one for you?
I don't know who Nick Cannon is.
Really?
I don't know. Does
my
he?
God.
Is that what he does
Yeah.
for like a living?
He used to be on AGT, right? I
Yeah.
think.
Oh, yeah, he
and
was.
he used to wear his turbans on AGT. He had some
Okay.
really cool turbans.
No kidding.
Chicks dug it, man. I
Yeah.
mean, they were all over him. I mean, it was just crazy.
Well, from what I've been told in previous podcasts here is that if we can get a sponsor, we can get another camera, and then we can get me
That's
in the
right.
picture.
That's
right.
right.
And
You
then,
can
I
see
mean,
your
right.
turban.
if we could get people to see the stuff I'm wearing,
That's right. It'd be crazy.
these episodes would be fire.
The money right there.
I think IBM would even sponsor us at that point.
Right?
It'd be crazy.
But we just need one. We just need one good one, and
That's
then I think
right.
that's enough, and
That's right.
we'll get another camera.
And you know, if we do get another sponsor, maybe we can do the Super Bowl next year. We can do an ad on the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow.
$5.6 million for 30 seconds.
Easy.
What?
Yeah.
Easy from
Easy
IBM.
money. Easy money. One sponsor. That's all we need.
That's
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, think about it. New cameras, Super
That's
Bowl
right.
commercials,
New building.
new building. Yep.
Yeah.
Just one sponsor.
That's it, just one. So who's gonna do it, guys?
Yeah. Who's the drop in the
That's
bucket?
right.
Calls
God.
out there.
That's it. That's it. Well, how's everybody doing? You guys all right?
Doing well. Doing well.
This is a hard job for the Podfather. You have to kind of control everything and ask people how they're doing. I don't give a fuck about how you're doing. I really don't. It's just 14 minutes and 58 seconds left on the clock that I have to cover. So I'm just saying something. That's a cue for you, Sweets.
Yeah. No, it's a good. I like that. I like how you brought that right into the equation.
So I was told to go like this
You
when
were.
he doesn't start it, but now
Yep.
you know a little behind the scenes stuff.
It is.
so.
It is. Yeah, the producer.
What do they
is
call it?
awful.
Breaking the fifth wall?
Yeah.
Is that it? Is it
Ah.
fifth wall or fourth wall?
I mean-
Probably the fifth wall, because
Fifth.
usually there's 4 walls in a room.
Oh, that-
See, you want to count 1, 2, 3, 4. She's learning, Sweets.
Hey,
She's
I'm
learning.
getting
I
it.
actually think it's the fourth wall
No, I think it's the 5th.
because when you're watching, there's only 3. You are the fourth wall. Breaking the fourth wall is interacting with the person. The fourth wall.
I don't know.
Well, there you go. A
Let's-
valid
there
argument
you
for
go.
both
There you
sides.
go. That's our topic today, guys. Is there a 4th or a 5th wall?
Which
Has
wall
nothing
are
to do with
you?
recovery.
Which
Welcome.
wall best represents you as a person?
That's
You know what I
right,
mean? Because it's not up to.
exactly.
We don't get to define what wall.
No,
you
we
are.
don't. No.
You know, you get to choose your own wall.
That's right. That's right. Are you the long
you're
wall,
like
the short wall?
Yeah, if you live in a different dimension, you want to have a different wall. I mean,
Yeah.
who am I to say you
Listen,
can't?
and
There
listen,
it
if you're
is.
very close, you might not have a window on your wall. If you're a very open person, you might have a whole bank of walls.
That's
That's right.
Yeah,
No
see?
walls.
No walls.
You might not even have a wall. You might have a gate.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. There you go.
Look at that.
Wow.
So
Okay.
many different ways to look at life.
This is going real wrong,
Yeah.
guys.
So when you see someone, you say, "How you doing?" What do you want to hear back?
Nothing really.
Yeah,
It's
very-
just-
very-
I just want to keep walking. Usually.
Yeah.
No,
Very
I'm just
little,
kidding.
right?
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
Just if it's a bad day, doing. Yeah, I'm right, hanging in there.
Yeah.
How are you? That's it. I don't want to know your shit any
I'm
more
good.
past
It's
that.
all right. It's But we still have 12 minutes and 34 seconds, so if you want to tell us how you're doing.
Well, no, I don't. I just want to talk. I mean, I just want to talk about an experience that I had because I'm from up here, and up here is Massachusetts,
Yes.
and up here in Massachusetts, when we say how you doing, it's not a real question. It's
No.
a statement. It's a period at the end, like how you doing,
And that's it.
and you just keep it moving.
Yeah.
And when I went down to Texas to go look at some treatment programs and stuff like that, I got really uncomfortable because I felt like they wanted to know. You know what I mean?
They
Like
probably did want to know.
They
Yeah,
came
I'm
up
sure they
like,
did.
"Hey, how you doing?" And I'm like, that sounded like a question. I don't know what to do here. And they caught me off guard because I was just walking like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'm like, I don't really know. I'm fucking freaking out right now.
Try Mississippi when they ask you how you're doing.
Yeah.
You have to have about 3 hours because they really want to know how you're doing because there's nothing going on in Mississippi.
gosh.
That's what it is. Like, we're all so busy up here that when you
Yeah.
ask the question, it's just like, I know better than to tell you how I'm doing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I hope you know better than to tell me.
Exactly.
We
See,
have
well,
a-
you guys are a little more kinder. Us in New Jersey and New York, when they say how you doing, you go, fuck you.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
it. I mean, you got to give them an answer. You got to be kind.
That's an appropriate response.
That's an appropriate response to how you're doing in New York. Fuck you.
Shit. Okay.
Fuck off and keep it moving.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody's like, "Oh, cool. That guy's doing good."
Yeah. He didn't
Like
say
having a
"fuck
great
you,"
day.
you fucking fuck.
Yeah,
He just said
exactly.
"fuck you."
Exactly.
So he must be chilling.
That's it.
Yeah.
He's perfect. So
It's a sign of being well.
it is.
Yes.
It
You know,
is.
when you
it
can
is.
tell someone to fuck
Yes,
off when they ask how
exactly.
you
And
doing.
you don't have to wear
Totally.
that mask. You don't have to put a mask on. You don't have to be fake.
Well, that's what I was getting at. Is like when you ask that question, it's like, well, what do you usually tell people? I'm fine. I'm good. That's usually bullshit.
Yeah,
It is.
totally.
Right?
It is.
What's fine stand for? Fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm
he's-
fine.
Yeah, nice mask you got there, buddy.
Yeah, big time. Big
What's
time.
that? Is that a crack? You got a crack right across the front of your face.
You better get it off and get some recovery. Or is that
Yeah.
recovered?
You can get whatever you want.
Whatever, man. It's all
They're
for
your
the taking.
walls.
Not
They're
get
your
into that
walls
one.
or gates. You call them
That's
whatever
like
you want.
Masks, walls. What else are we talking about?
Yeah.
Gates, windows. This is a great show. We're going to talk about building a house. So.
Yeah.
Oh God! So speaking about masks, I think we were talking earlier about a possible topic about recovery masks. Let's see, I have something. What were we saying, Meg?
The masks of recovery, of both
Yes.
addiction and recovery, and what that
Yeah.
looks like.
So here I have it says the masks of addiction are not pretty, and they are numerous. Many come into recovery wearing masks of the dreaded four horsemen: terror, bewilderment, frustration, and despair. I'm spitting in the microphone. or that of the first cousin's anger and self-pity. That's a mask that I wouldn't want on, right?
No,
Did you understand that?
No.
Did I read it good?
I don't know. Do it again.
Yeah, do
All right,
I
you wanna
like
read it
I
again?
like the
The mask of addictions. The masks of addiction are not pretty, and they are numerous. Many come into recovery wearing masks of the dreaded four horsemen: terror, bewilderment, frustration, and despair. You think I would have read this before? Or that of their first cousins: anger and self-pity.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
It's pretty deep.
That is
It
deep.
is, yeah.
Yeah, that's
the
a mask.
first cousin thing threw me off. I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah, I know. I
whose
should
cousin?
I should have read it and make believe I really knew what I was talking about first. So.
No, this is real-time research. Real-time
Yes,
data, guys.
exactly.
We're getting all
Boom,
this stuff
we're doing
live.
it. Yes,
Live from the
exactly.
studio, brought right to
That's
you.
right. Research Ed. I mean, Jersey Ed. Good
I
Lord.
like it.
But
I felt all those.
Yeah.
oh my God, yeah.
Felt all those coming through the door. I don't know if those were my mask, though. I mean, the mask was to hide that, right? Is that what they're saying?
Well, I think. Well, maybe. Well, I don't know. It doesn't.
Because
really...
I wore a mask of being fine.
Yeah, but you weren't. But
No, I know. I
but
felt those feelings.
Everybody's seen this in us. I think maybe that's what it was.
I mean, we all probably knew that I was going through that. I
Yeah.
mean, how can you walk through the
Yeah.
halls and come from the life that you have not feeling those feelings?
Yeah.
But my mask was more of I got it under control. I know what I'm doing. I'll figure it out. Like it was more pride or ego mask that I carried in to protect those things and to keep people from really, seeing them.
Yeah. Getting too close.
My insecurities and
Yeah.
my fear and all that stuff.
But I think we see that and we think the mask is on as everything's good.
Yeah.
But I think the human beings or the other normal people or loved ones see this mask differently than we see it, and maybe that's what they see. That would be my interpretation. of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, with it saying, anger being the first cousin and self-pity, I mean, we know anger is a secondary emotion, right? It's a protective state that is very appealing to the outside world, especially if you're a guy and gender norms and all of that. So anger is a safe mask to put on, and that was a real safe mask for me. And it's funny, I talked about this. When I did that workshop, that Healing the Wounded Healer with Gabor Mate out in Sacramento a couple years ago. They were filming a documentary on his life and what he's teaching, and we all really got to be a part of that. I said, he was like, describe what your addiction did for you. And I said, well, I stood up and I said, it gave me a nice veil, put the same thing you're saying, a mask, and it kept a nice, comfortable separation between me and the rest of the world, just far enough for me to be able to do the drug and then be the one that could get out there in the world and get stuff done and talk to people and do all these things that I couldn't do underneath the mask.
And I agree to that to some extent. I felt the same way, but I knew that everybody knew that it wasn't that kind of mask, though. That's how I see this, because I remember towards the end of my drinking and my using, everybody's knew it. I knew they knew it, so you had to put that mask up even more. But when we're in that state, do we really know how to put that kind of mask on to make it look like we're one of them? I don't think I did. I don't think I. I think I wore the mask of bewilderment, despair, and self-pity. Self-pity was it's still to this day, I still fall back into it once in a while. The self-pity bullshit stuff really doesn't mean no good, at all, to self-pity stuff. But the bewilderment and the despair was like, good Lord, how come I didn't get this? How come I didn't get that? How come I'm the drug addict? How come the despair of everything, that was my huge mask. I remember wearing that mask big time. Everybody else is making money. Well, yeah, because you're spending all your fucking money on cocaine, hookers, and fucking booze. And that's that's kind of where my life was. So I don't know. That's the way I'm interpreting. Again, it's all, each one of us are interpreting this differently. So that's my mask.
So what do you think if I said fear was my mask? Or was the mask to hide the fear? Like, how are you interpreting the bewilderment? Was the bewilderment the mask? Or did you have a mask on to hide the self-pity?
Well, the bewilderment was what the people seen in me. And that was the feeling that I was trying to mask. But that mask, I think the mask is
transparent in some
transparent
way.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a clear mask.
Yeah.
It's not a mask. We think we think the drugs and alcohol are putting a mask over us or whatever, so we can go out in the world and make it like we're. Listen, I worked really hard. I held 2 jobs. I had 4 kids. All while I was using, kept it together pretty well.
Yeah.
But it wasn't good, and everybody knew it wasn't good. So that bewilderment and self-pity, that was shining clear through that mask, no doubt about it.
Yeah, definitely. I was sort of similar, too. I think even to this day, and I've said this before, my family members and even people that were close to me at the time that I was using really didn't understand the gravity of it and how much pain I was in because I really kept it together. I always had a job, always showed up. Yeah, I might be dope sick from time to time, or I might be calling out, but I always bartended. I always had cash, so I always had sort of things in the works to be able to have enough money to at least not be sick. But I'm thinking back on it now, there's no freaking way that anybody would convince me that you couldn't tell that I was high as a kite. I mean, my freaking pupils were pinned. My eyes were bright blue. There's no way. Even if I was in that state today with the awareness out there, I feel like there's be no getting away with that. And for some freaking reason, I actually did get away with it for a long enough period of time to have people sort of just go with the flow.
Meg, that's called enabling.
Yeah. Well, then literally every single person in my life, from my boss to my coworkers to my family, everybody enabled me.
But nobody wants to bring it up.
I mean, that's the other thing
if we're talking about a mask, right? Like, I look at it like this. When I was a little kid, I was afraid of the dark, right? And for some reason, I felt safe under my blanket. Like the monsters couldn't get me. You know what I mean? Or I felt like if I couldn't see them, they couldn't see me. And I think that was just something that I adopted as a kid, that if I couldn't see them, they couldn't see me. And that's what drugs did for me. Drugs were like that really ridiculous. It was like basically like if I put on a scuba suit and I thought a scuba suit would protect me. I was walking around in the normal world in a fucking scuba suit and everyone's like, look at that guy in the scuba suit. And everyone's like, should we say something?
Should we tell him?
And I'm like, I think he probably knows. And I feel like that's how my addiction was. Is I was walking around, everybody's like, Jesus Christ, look at that guy. Yeah. And they're like, should we say anything? And like, I think he knows. And like, nobody wanted to bring it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like nobody wanted to bring up what we all knew because they just assumed I knew. And they didn't want to make me feel bad about it. Yeah. But by not bringing it up, I was like, Jesus, nobody knows. I'm like, I'm wearing a fucking scuba suit at Stop and Shop, and nobody said anything. I was like, this is crazy. Well, the world is fucked up.
If anybody should know, it's you doing all these interventions because, when you get somebody in the room with you and you're actually doing the intervention, they're denying everything. That's not true. She's lying. He's lying. They're lying. So they're putting their mask on, trying to make everybody in that room see that
because they don't want to go to treatment. That's
true.
Yeah,
but
whatever I
that's,
have to say.
But that's where the pimple comes to a head and it busts at that point.
That's gross. That's awesome.
I could even got worse. It was on my ass, big boil, and I sat on it. We keep going or no? We're good.
No, we're good. That's good. That's good. I shouldn't have qualified. I should have let it ride.
That, all right? But no, I mean that's what we do. We wear those masks,
right?
And it's.
But why don't people bring it up? Why is it so scary? Like I had this conversation the other day in my office where we were talking about an individual with a job that is a raging alcoholic and nobody says anything, and the family is like, well, if nobody's saying anything at work and they're not having any problems, should we say anything? And I'm like, yes. Just because everyone around them is so scared to bring it up doesn't mean that it doesn't exist and that person's not struggling and dying on the inside, And I know that I made sure that my family was too afraid to bring it up to me. Because every time I brought it up, I'm like, see, you guys are the fucking reason I want to get high. And you know what I mean? All you do is bring up my past and throw it against me. Like I used all the tools to keep them terrified. Yeah. Like, just stuck in fear of actually bringing it up and being like, Mike, it's like 100 degrees out.
Sweets.
You're wearing a wetsuit. Sweets. Yeah. It's 100 degrees out. You're wearing a scuba suit. You know what I mean? Everybody's looking at you. Could you stop? Can you just take it off?
Here's the other thing, too. If you bring something up to somebody, especially an addiction, you might have to take an action with them.
Right.
And that action can be very, very messy. And so, Sweets, you have a drug problem. Fuck you, I don't have a drug problem. Then what do I say?
Right.
I got a chance to say, yeah, you're right. Sorry, you used the other
my
day,
bad. It just looks like you do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to say, listen, you do have a drug problem. What are you going to do about it? Fuck you. I'm not doing anything. But then you got to engage.
Yep.
So that could be the other piece of it.
Nobody wants to engage. Just like when you ask how you doing. Don't tell me.
Exactly.
Yeah, really
exactly.
Keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
There you go. Show's over.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
Well, that's kind of where we started. Is that why do these masks exist? Like why do we do it? And I think at least up here, I mean, maybe it is different down south, and people are more likely to talk about their problems. I don't know if that's true, but up here, I feel like we do we want to carry our own weight. We don't want people to know what we're going through. Like we don't want people to bring it up. So I walk around. I know when I was in recovery, I found out that I tried to be mean and unapproachable because I was soft and squishy on the inside, and I didn't want anyone to find out.
Yeah.
And we all find out those things about ourselves later. So.
Absolutely.
But we gotta break. You want to take a break?
We could take a break. Does this mean break?
I mean, I don't know. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, we can take a break.
You sure? You want to take a break now?
Yep.
Do you want me to take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break.
Mask on. Fuck it, mask on.
We'll be right back, Friends in Recovery.
Since 1992, Genesis House has been helping real people heal from addiction on their private recovery campus in beautiful Palm Beach County, Florida. Their family-owned program is accredited by the Joint Commission and offers detox and dual diagnosis treatment in a comfortable and confidential setting. At Genesis House, they focus on treating the underlying causes of addiction. Their comprehensive approach includes psychiatric care, individual and small group therapy, trauma healing techniques, and holistic care including yoga, massage, and animal-assisted therapy. After treatment, their clients enjoy the lifelong support of a nationwide network of Genesis House alumni. Call Genesis House today at 1-800-737-0933 to speak with someone who understands. Visit them on the web at www.genesishouse.net. It's time to start your journey to a long and successful recovery. Welcome back to the Friends in Recovery Addiction Recovery Podcast. We want to thank our sponsor, Genesis House, for supporting this show, along with individuals in recovery and the people that love them. Friends in Recovery Community of Support holds events across the country sponsored by Genesis House in Palm Springs, Florida, Marlton, New Jersey, Newtown, Connecticut, and Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. The Friends in Recovery Addiction Recovery Podcast is powered by your likes, follows, subscribes, and shares. And please be sure to do us a favor and leave us a 5-star review. And now, here are your Friends in Recovery.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Friends in Recovery Podcast. And as a father, Podfather would say .com.
He would say that.
He would. I don't know why
is
he
that a
says
thing?
that. Well, it's our Friends in Recovery Podcast.com. That's our website.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's
So
like...
it is a thing.
Yeah,
So
but I don't...
visit friendsandrecoverypodcast.com, everybody.
And I don't know why he says it, but it's a security blanket for him.
It works.
Yeah, it does. It does work. It gets everything across. He's branding us, and he's also telling the name of our podcast.
There you go. Double whammy.
That's it. Good job, Podfather.
Yeah.
All right. So it's time for the Jersey Ed podcast pick of the week. And my podcast pick of the week is, you guys are going to laugh because we talked about it in last show. It's Tony Robbins' podcast.
Surprise!
Surprise. I had to wait a couple weeks before, so. But it's just some inspirational, it's called Tony Robbins' podcast. It's real short clips of him speaking, very, very inspirational, very motivational. And I think the longest one on there is 15 minutes.
Really?
Yeah. It's really cool.
Is there another one? Because I've
He has,
listened
like-
to some of his other ones,
He has
and they're
like
longer.
3 of them.
Yeah, I've listened to one of them, and they're a lot longer.
Yes.
And I think his wife's involved
Yep.
in one of them.
Yep. And,
Yeah.
and he has guests on some of them.
Yep.
But this one particular is some short, really cool clips. So Tony Robbins podcast .com, I guess.
Yeah.
And
Check that
just
out.
take a listen to him. So
Good stuff.
yeah, absolutely. So anyways, we were talking about masks, right?
We did.
Was that what we were talking about?
We
That
did. We were
sure
talking about
was.
taking
We've been
that mask off.
podcasting all day. Yes. Now it's
Mask
time to
off.
mask off. That's it.
You know what I was thinking? This came to mind. Have you guys heard the study about the power poses?
I don't.
No,
Maybe
you
you could
got-
remind me.
You guys are like the only people now that literally don't know about these power poses. All right, so
Because we live in the woods in this little cabin here doing a podcast.
We're
We're
not
gonna
allowed
get out
out
to the
here,
real
so-
world.
Is there a podcast that talks about it?
I think actually, yeah, probably.
There's other podcasts?
Yeah,
Yeah.
other than us. Oh my god. But it's a researcher from Harvard. She's a social scientist. Her name is Amy Cuddy. Okay, she got a lot of flack for this because of her structure in which she did the study. But I'm a big believer in her whole method and what she found. So she basically had people fake certain power positions that are typically seen when someone crosses a finish line, wins a gold medal, gets the job, whatever. And she had people come in and she tested their saliva pre and post test, right? So before and after she gives them the instructions to do this particular behavior. The behaviors were to just pretend to be victorious, pretend to be confident. And she looked, not we, here I am vicariously living through Amy Cuddy. She looked at the research as to how it is that the cortisol levels spike when people imitate these behaviors and people that are confident and whatever. So one was, she brings them into the room and even though they're not comfortable and they want to take up very little space and they're very insecure, she has them open up, put their arms back, take up space, feel relaxed. She has them put their arms up as if they just want to race to mimic that behavior. Mm-hmm. And then she saw and tested the difference in the cortisol levels afterwards, and there was a significant change. And her whole thing, and it makes me cry every time I watch the video because she talks about her being a professor and a student coming to her and saying, I feel the imposter syndrome. I don't think I belong here. I don't think I should be here. And that sort of like prompted this whole idea to launch this study. And really what it came down to was the best line I've ever heard. I use it all the time. We hear fake it till you make it always. Mm-hmm. This was fake it until you become it. This was actually fake it long enough until your body actually reacts to the behavior as if it's real and authentic.
Well, visualization. Visualize your goals. Visualize you're finishing whatever your marathon. That's a big thing I learned running marathons is visualize everything. Visualize that goal. Visualize you're crossing the mile 20, 25, mile 26. Visualize it. See it. And
Yeah.
any goal that you do, though.
What's the old one? If you want to be happy, just smile.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're more likely to be happy
Yeah.
if you smile. If you have a frown, you're more likely to be sad.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah,
it's almost
exactly.
like you're. I don't know if it's fake it. It's emulate it. Embody it. Be it.
Yeah.
And it is a mindset. It is up to you. And if you want to feel confident, then be confident. You know,
Well, live it too. Live
Yeah.
whatever that is. If be it. Because I think I told this story in the past about the coffee house. Did I ever tell that story here?
maybe.
Okay.
I don't listen to all your
You're gonna hear it
stories.
anyway. So, but my therapist told me years ago when in early recovery, he said, "Where do you go for your coffee?"
I think I
And
remember this,
and I said I go to Wawa's. Wawa, we're looking for a sponsor.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'll
Always throwing it in there.
bleep that until they pay us.
Yeah, exactly. So I go to Wawa's. He go, why? Because a coffee cup is 99 cents. It's a big fucking cup. I can get in, get out, and be on my way. He's like, that's dumb. I'm like, really? I'm like, you want me to go sit in a parking lot for 20 minutes and then wait? And he goes, no. He goes, go over to the Cafe News in New Brunswick, New Jersey. They're not there anymore, so
No
you don't have to
sponsorship.
bleep that out. Yeah, no sponsorship. And sit there and have a cup of coffee. I'm like, that's not going to work because that's a $4 cup of coffee. John, I have 4 kids. I have my therapist's name was John. I have 4 kids. I'm working 2 jobs. My child support and my alimony. I can't even live. $4 for a cup of coffee. Just do it. So well, why? Why would I do that? He goes, because you're going to be around people who are like-minded like you. You're going to learn from those people. You're going to see how they dress. And I did. I learned how those people dress. I watched all those people. I seen business transactions go down. I would never seen that in a Wawa parking lot. Nothing against Wawa. It's great to get a cup of coffee, run in and run out. But he said, go there at least once a week and do it. And I learned a lot from that. I sat in there. And I think that's still why I go to Starbucks, because there are those certain people that go there. It amazes me seeing the people in Starbucks sitting there on their computers, working hard, having business meetings. It's really cool. So,
and the ones who are pretending.
The ones who are pretending like me. Like watching everybody. So, but no. And that's kind of what you're talking about is, you know, you kind of have to live it until you become it. You know, and
absolutely,
that would be my guess. What that has to do with masks, I'm not sure. But
well, because we wear the mask because we're faking being, you know, back integrated into society as the normie, and that was my mission when I got on Vivitrol. I wanted nothing to do with the title of being in recovery. I wanted nothing for the title of being a former user or whatever you want to. I wanted nothing to do with it. I wanted no meetings. Don't remind me every day that this is who I am, and it actually worked for me because I pretended that I was much more stable than I was. But you know what? I needed that because I knew that if I put the pressure on myself to actually deliver because I was wearing that mask, I knew that it was only going to feel inauthentic for so long. And eventually I would become it. It was like, you know, it was like years ago, I had a mentor that said, dress for the job you want. When you show up for that interview, dress like the position. Yep. Don't show up expecting, you know, something different. And so you kind of command that spec when you step into that position. And it's so much about, you know, even opposite action when I tell kids all the time that I work with of like, just do the exact thing you don't want to do. Eventually it'll start to feel a little bit more authentic.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's that negative self-talk, positive self-talk. You know what I mean? If you talk yourself down like you're not good enough. I mean, I have a colleague that just reached out that was trying to do something professionally and reached out and was like, I feel, you know, inadequate. I feel like, the imposter syndrome. I feel like a fraud. I feel like they're going to laugh. And I was like, we all do, and anyone that tells you they don't is lying to you. You know, we all do. It's just that you have to convince yourself that you're worth it, that your opinion matters, that you have something to offer.
Yeah.
And I think it's in a life that's so geared toward negative self-talk. You know, I can't do it. It's so focused on the failures. I haven't been able to do it. I can't do it. Every time I try, I fail. I don't know how to do normal stuff. It's all negative. Like even on your best day, it's just full of negative talk. The people around you being negative, the people you interact with being negative. That positive self-talk is such a hard element in life to just apply.
Yeah. Well, we were talking earlier, maybe on the ATC show or answering the call yesterday with Chris about doing the Delaware, and I'm thinking to myself, well, is it possible? And I said, fuck yeah, it's possible. I said, let's just get a date. Him and I spoke this morning, and we put a date down, and it's possible. I mean, we're gonna do it, you know. Wow. And it's the impossible. I embrace because it's not impossible. It means I'm possible. That's how I look at impossible now. So you tell me
just
something.
All kinds of motivating.
I'm telling you, man.
Make me uncomfortable.
Tony Robbins changed my life. I swear to God. If you think it's a cult, you think I drank the Kool-Aid. Fuck it, I did. I don't give a shit because my life has changed. Man.
If it makes your life better, then that's fantastic.
God, but just thinking and even talking, even speaking differently. You know, now I'm catching myself. I can't, or I'm tired. I'm not tired. I just need a rest. I'm tired means I'm going to give up. Resting means I'm just going to lay down and I'm going to rest my body so I can keep doing what I'm doing. If it's an 8-hour rest, or if it's whatever it is, means I'm going to keep going to do whatever I can do. I'm tired means I'm done with this. I can't do it anymore. Fuck it. I give up. So even those mindsets of thinking of these words of I can't, or I'm tired, or impossible, or whatever it is, you got to just bowl through them and say, yep, everything's possible. It really is.
My former supervisor I met with the other day, and he said the same thing. He's like, you're just willing to take risks. He was like, that's has so much to do with why you continue to move forward. And I'm like, you know what, you're right, because I don't have the fear of stepping into a new responsibility or opening up to a new opportunity. And Ed, you were making fun of me about all my tarot stuff and watching all my YouTube videos, but I gotta say, you're sort of speaking my language right now, because the last one that I watched, it said Gemini 2020, get that vision board done and conceptualize the possibility. So what did I do? I got a vision board.
There
And what
you
am I
go.
going to do? Make it this weekend.
There you go.
Because
there you go.
have to be able to see the possibilities of what you're capable of. Even if you don't really believe it, open up to it. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen?
Yeah.
People are going to laugh at you. You're going to
Yeah,
fail.
that's
So
so
what?
what?
But what does a vision board really do except expand your mind to the fact that your world isn't as small as you think it is right now?
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
if you're looking around at your world right now, if you're in your life and you're looking around and everything feels small and impossible and it seems like you can never break out of the little mold that you're in, a vision board is a great way to start at the top.
Yep.
Where do I want it to be? What would
Yeah.
it take to get me there? What are
Yeah.
my goals? What are my hopes? And all of a sudden your world gets a little bigger. All the
Yeah.
possibilities start
yeah.
to become
Well, you-
real possibilities.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
break down those walls. I mean, when
Which wall?
the fourth wall,
Fourth
the fifth
wall, fifth wall?
We're not sure which wall
The
it is.
gate? Break through that window?
the window.
Yeah.
We're gonna break something. But you're looking at something that's gonna get done, or you're and I was just busting your chops about the tarot cards because it is pretty funny. But listen, we get inspired from whatever it is,
Yeah.
and when I told Sweets I was doing, a 100-mile canoe trip, he's like, yeah, okay. It's just something that he doesn't want to do, but it's something that I need to do and overcome and do what I have to do. And everybody has their goals.
I will support you in your goals.
I know you would.
Yeah.
Can you give me a $10 donation? All right. But the thing is that nothing's impossible.
Yeah.
As long as it's within your means and it's safe and it's But back to what you're saying, no risk, no reward, Meg.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
absolutely.
And you got to take those risks sometimes because you're gonna fall, you're gonna fail, you're gonna fall on your ass. But you know what? It's not. It's if you ask somebody how many times did you fall down? Well, you fell down 8 times. Yeah, I fell down 8 times, but I got up the 9th time, and I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? Or however that saying goes. But it's all how you look at things and keep in that kind of focus and that state of positivity.
Well, I think a lot of times too, people that have suffered with alcoholism and addiction, I think even when we get to a place where we're speaking publicly about it and we're speaking about our path or whatever, I do think that there's still a risk of us falling back into that state of being victimized. And I think if we don't allow ourselves the possibility of conceptualizing bigger and better, we stay stuck. And a lot of times the people around us can't see the vision for us, and so it keeps our world really small. And I think things like the vision board, it might sound lame. Okay, what am I going to do? Put a bunch of pictures up that, have some rocks that, are out on a beach and, standing, it's harmony, it's peace, it's balance, all of these things that we see on the internet of, what that means. Yeah, actually, because if I can't believe that it's a possibility, then I'm not going to work towards opening myself up to that. And by the way, the Tony Robbins of the world and the Gabor Mates of the world, they'll tell you they didn't get there because it was easy. They got there because it was a challenge after a challenge, and they failed a million times.
Yeah.
You don't grow when things are easy.
No, you don't.
You want to hear a funny vision board thing?
Yeah.
All right. So I was in jail, and this was 1997, and I was about to go upstate and do some time, and I was flipping through a magazine. I saw a Q45 Infinity. Man, I wanted that car so bad. Right? So I cut out a bunch of pictures of the car, and I put it up on the wall, put a little toothpaste up as, glue, because that's what we use to put pictures up in jail, and put a little toothpaste on the back of that picture and slapped it up on the wall and took that from cell to cell with me and kept it in with my pictures and stuff. And, whenever I was thinking about, I'm like, I'm going to get this car. I mean, I never got the car because that car was, obsolete. I don't even think they still make that thing. And, but, that drove me through some really tough times is that, I was a 19, 20-year-old kid who was about to go do some time. I had no money. I had no career. I had nothing that was leading me in that direction. So it wasn't like, based on where I am today, this is what I can afford. I wasn't budgeting money to get a Q45. It was literally just, I set a goal that was impossible at the time, and I was like, eventually I'm going to make this happen. I think Jim Carrey did that with a check. Now, have you guys ever heard the story of that?
I think I've heard this story.
He wrote himself $1 million check, and he's someday I'm going to be able to cash that.
Yeah.
Things like that. Those are inspiring things where people, they reach outside of their current situation, and they imagine a version of their life, and they manifest it.
That's right.
But if you can't imagine that, you're going to manifest shit.
Yeah.
More of the same.
But if you imagine
More of the
shit
same.
and call yourself shit, you're gonna
More
manifest shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Manifest destiny.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't an inspirational podcast.
No,
It can
but
be, but
it's true.
that's exactly what it is. You manifest whatever you're focused on. If you're focused on how shitty your life is not going to get better. It's going to stay shitty.
Yeah.
And if you can't see outside of the way things are right now, it won't get better.
You're the only one who can fix yourself. You're the one who can get out of your way. And Meg, back to you with your vision. You said, well, nobody else can see my vision. Fuck everybody else.
Right.
Because they're going to fuck up your vision. They're going to fuck it up, and they're going to destroy what your vision is because they can't. You can't do that. You can't get a rock on the beat. You can't do that. That's not a vision. Fuck you. But maybe that's something symbolic for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And Sweets with your infinity over there.
Stupid car.
Yeah, no.
Sick car, by the way.
It was a sick car.
Yeah, it was. But we envision that for ourselves, and maybe we don't have that particular car. But when you got out and you have
I
a
have
very
an
nice
Infinity
car,
now.
you do.
Yeah.
So
Not a Q45.
That's
but
okay.
It's actually better.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so fuck you, Q45.
it's a newer one.
I win. Ha.
But you got to keep envisioning. You got to keep kind of pushing forward. So
Well, and I think the other thing too is like we have to recognize we co-create our destiny. We can't sit back and say, "Woe is me. Why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me?" Maybe it's the way you're engaged in the world. Maybe you need to shift perspective. Maybe you need to shift focus. Maybe you're manifesting toxicity because that's how you're operating in the world. I mean,
Or if you see yourself as a victim.
exactly.
Yes,
If you stay in
Like
that place,
like life is
Stop
happening
playing
to
the
you.
victim.
life is happening
Stop
to you, or
playing the
no one's
victim.
here to help me. Why doesn't anyone see that I need help? Please help me. You got to help yourself. And I shared that article on Facebook, a couple weeks ago, and it was like, I hate to break it to you, but you're the reason why your life sucks.
the victim
Period.
never wins, man. They're
Never.
always playing the fucking poor me role, and that's just,
Well, that's that self-pity we were talking about earlier,
Yes.
one of the masks that we all
Yeah.
wear. You know what I
Yep.
mean? That self-pity is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that we carry around as masks to really defend how afraid we are to face life.
yeah.
And, I carried that one around.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Well,
a victim. This is happening to me.
That self-pity, I mean, even we all fall into, I know I fall into every once in a while, and when I have that self-pity feeling sorry for me, that particular vision that I wanted, I never get.
No,
I
never.
never get it.
You know what
yeah,
this- right? You know what
exactly.
this is?
Yes, the
The
smallest
the-
violin.
We'll do it so they can see
There
it.
you go, the
There
smallest
it is,
violin.
yeah.
That's what you get.
Yeah.
But once you start looking at that vision and say, "Fuck it, man, I'm gonna get it." Whatever. If it's something small that you want to learn chess or you want whatever it is, you just go and do it. Oh, I can't play chess. It's so hard. Fuck you. It's hard. Yeah, it is. But there's a book on it. Read it and figure out how to play chess.
Right.
So you can do whatever you want.
Anything worth doing is worth doing right. That's what BK says.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Invest the time and energy into it. And visualization, I think, is key. My dad did that for years. Where are we going to end up in 15 years? Florida.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We're not there yet, but it's kept him going.
If you don't have a goal, then what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You're just existing.
Treading water.
And we
complaining
existed,
that the land
yeah.
is so far away.
Yeah, and we existed all those years in recovery and I mean not in recovery. I mean how many times you're waiting for the dope man to come by? He's not coming by unless you call him, right? I mean, usually he doesn't know when you're running out of your shit. So we were pretty visual back then. So
I used to get so mad at my dope man. I'm like, dude, if you're not coming, just tell me.
Oh, my
He's
God.
like, no, I'm going to be there.
The
I'm like, listen,
worst.
motherfucker. I'm like, listen, I get it. I'm cool with it. Just tell me you're not coming.
know.
And, no. I'm outside. I'm like, no, you're not. I'm outside. I'm right around the corner. No, you're not, dude. Just, I get it. Like,
Oh my God, I know that feeling, and so does probably everybody else listening.
Yeah,
know that
you
feeling.
know.
Yeah,
You know.
Oh yeah.
Worst.
Exactly. So,
look at that.
well,
Masks.
looks like masks were good.
Hope everybody takes their mask off.
Keep them
Yeah.
off, folks.
Keep them off.
Keep 'em off.
and just go for your goals, man. And
Yeah.
set, what do you say? It's, set a goal so high that scares the shit out of you.
Yeah, it makes you uncomfortable.
Absolutely. So, anyways, well, I think that's it, right, guys?
I think that's it.
Yeah, we did.
That's all
Well,
we
we
got.
can go on for another 20 minutes, but hit it, Sweets.
Is that it?
That might be it.
Mask on. Fuck it, mask on.
Stay sober, everybody.
That concludes this episode of Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast. Thanks to Genesis House for supporting those on the path to recovery and for keeping this valuable resource free for our Friends in Recovery community. Follow us on Facebook for past shows and updates. If you're interested in becoming a guest on the show, email us at help@friendsinrecoverypodcast.com. If you can't get enough of Mike the Podfather and Jersey Ed, you can catch them on Answering the Call, the First Responder Podcast, available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube.